I'm Barbara Hudson, and behind me you can see where I live. I'm the only one left after 8.5 months. These two buildings used to be the home of more than 50 families. Now there's just me. What used to be a quiet dead-end street is now half deserted, with the other half not knowing when they're going to be told to hit the road. This 25-inch gap under the fence is an excellent example of the security failures of this project. 3 weeks after I told the mayor about it and showed him pictures, it's still easy for any kid to get under. One of the things they get to play in is that large container filled with asbestos contaminated materials. On October 31st of last year, tenants were told to go meet at the Pierrefonds Civic Center down the road. There, Cloverdale told us that the City of Montreal had bought the buildings, which was a lie, and that the City of Montreal was terminating our leases with less than 3 months' notice. Also a lie. They did everything they could to force everybody to leave before January 31st. Tactics included threats to break into people's homes and throw their stuff out, and to turn off the electricity and water. You'll hear more about that in other videos. I stood up against these terror tactics, denounced what they were doing as illegal, and for my efforts, the director of Cloverdale outed me publicly as a transsexual in front of all my neighbors and others. We've been lied to, we've been threatened, we've gone to court, we've won judgments against them which they refused to pay, and we've also learned the actual contents of the contract. The City of Montreal had an obligation to ensure that every tenant was moved before construction was begun. This did not happen. By the beginning of February, there were still over half a dozen families living in these buildings, and construction began anyway. It put everybody's safety in danger, and it was a clear violation of the contract. We also learned from that contract that the city knew there was asbestos in the buildings, and nobody ever bothered to tell us. You know, we're getting to be feeling like we're being treated like the mushrooms that are growing in some of the apartments here. Kept in the dark, and just having manure shoveled on us over and over. One of the things they did was to offer to temporarily relocate me in a basement apartment in this building. Unfortunately, I found out after I signed an agreement to this that the place was full of mold, and I refused to move into it. They're arguing that I made an inexcusable error. I should have brought somebody else to look at the apartment because at the time I couldn't see. I don't buy that, so I'm in court now fighting for the rights of the visually handicapped, as well as against this, as well as against their outing me as a transsexual. I can still smell the raw sewage coming from that apartment back there 2 months after it started, 2 weeks after the city had it pumped out. And I'm not exactly near it. Can you imagine what it smells like to the people living in there? And Cloverdale says it's not their problem, even though they own the building. This section has the dubious pleasure of having mice, mushrooms, and mold. This building comes with its own pets, cockroaches and bed bugs. Again, as far as Cloverdale's concerned, not really their problem. Even though the problem stems from several apartments being left open and empty and uncleaned for months. Now, what have they done to me? Well, let's see. There was a leaky pipe on the 3rd floor that they didn't fix for 2 months. Finally worked its way down to my place, and part of the bathroom ceiling fell in. They turned off my hot water on January the 1st. Only got it back the day before we were due to appear in court on February the 19th. On February the 1st, they told the post office that nobody was living here, even though 6 families were. And they threatened to have the postal worker arrested if he ever tried to deliver mail, because they said he would be trespassing. Even though construction was supposed to start only after everybody was gone, I've had the pleasure of waking up the jackhammers right next door to my bedroom since the beginning of February. Construction continues unabated, even though it's not supposed to have started until after everybody was gone. I guess I'm nobody. Our Member of Parliament has been totally useless. She was very quick to wash her hands of this matter, so she can expect a very dirty and long campaign fight, because I'm going to run against her. Somebody has to stop this stupidity, and she's sitting on the tools that we need to make sure it never happens again. Now, un message pour Denis Coderre, maire de Montréal. s'il vous plaît, communiquez avec nous parce que la ville est négligente dans cette affaire. Vous avez dépensé de l'argent sans raison, vous avez mis le monde dans le rue, puis vous avez laissé Cloverdale semer le peu dans ce qui reste. Ça, c'est un pur gaspillage des fonds publics et ça devait arrêter avant que ça passe au tribunal. Merci.